We meet the team transforming people's lives, making facial prosthetics in pool. This story is my favourite of the night. The work they do has been described as life-changing. When surgery can no longer help, specialists can rebuild people using a combination of art and technology.
I won't take it personally. The I'll try that again. Maxillofacial team at Poole Hospital make new body parts, often for the face, lost after trauma or disease, with amazing results.
Our health correspondent Alistair Fee has been given special access to the team. Tonight we meet 3 people whose lives have been transformed.
2 years ago, John had a life-changing diagnosis.
I just thought it was an eye infection and got some cream from the chemist. But after a week, 10 days of no improvement, that's why I went to the doctor. It was a cancer behind the eye. They said they could treat the cancer, so it wasn't as desperate as it could have been. They did warn me that I'd have to lose the eye.
The news affected his confidence, his sense of self.
When you're on the bus, people see the patch and they tend to stare, especially children. And I tend to make a joke of it. You went to a party, didn't you? My magic eye told me. The cancer specialist put me in touch with the Poole Hospital, with the maxillofacial people.
This is a specialist unit where they make complex facial prostheses with extraordinary results.
Here's one I made earlier.
I thought it was a great idea. I did ask them whether they could make one that I could still see through, but they said they haven't got quite that far yet.
I enjoy all processes of making the prosthetics for our patients. It's quite technical, but it's also really artistic. You've got to get the accuracy right of the fit and the implant components. You get a really nice outcome for them, and it makes it all worth it.
So do you want to put your prosthesis off for me?
9 years ago, Philip lost his nose.
I was diagnosed with cancer in 2012. It started with just a spot. By the time I got the full diagnosis, it had spread right through the septum and was pretty rampant. I came to Poole Hospital and I was told then that they would have to remove my nose, which absolutely horrified me because I might be old, but I'm still quite vain.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go out. And when I started to go out, people made clients.
We tend to see them at least every 6 months just to check how things are going. And then especially here down in Dorset, we tend to have a summer and a winter nose or you know, a prosthesis. So we do need to keep a check on that as well.
I've got several noses, but this is the winter one, yes. Only purely and simply because during the summer, obviously you get tanned, or I get tanned. Heidi makes a nose that fits in with the summer to blend in with my skin, so the nose doesn't stick out like a sore thumb.
Hello.
Susan is another cancer patient. She's been under the care of this team for 18 months.
I had what they call a basal cell carcinoma and had several operations, but unfortunately the problem got worse, and at the end of the day it had to be a much bigger procedure, and that resulted in my losing the ear. It made you feel self-conscious. I was, you know, always wanting to hide it all the time. Yeah, didn't have much confidence. They put 3 titanium implants into the bone to hold the magnets. It was just so lovely when I actually got the prosthetic eventually.
Every 6 months, for the rest of their lives, each patient will attend these checkups. The hard work happens behind the scenes, leading to a remarkable visual restoration and a personal impact that is life-changing.
When you think that the prosthetics people are doing arms and legs and noses and restoring people's faces and all kinds of things, and noses, and they're just amazing.
They really are amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah, incredible. As you can see, Alexis has joined us now, and if you found that report as fascinating as the 3 of us did, then do try to watch us tomorrow and Friday, as we'll be looking inside the workshop where the maxillofacial team craft those prosthetics. We'll see the techniques involved and how the team build close relationships with each of their patients.
Now, the work they do has been described as life-changing. When surgery can no longer help, A team in Poole is putting people back together using a combination of art and the latest technology. In the second of our series, Going Behind the Scenes, our health correspondent Alistair Fee reports on the latest technology and materials being used to recreate parts of the body.
In this lab in Poole Hospital, lives broken by trauma and disease are put back together. It's a mixture of art, technology and science.
It's getting used to colours and looking at different textures in the skin, picking those up and knowing what colours to add to your silicone to alter that colour to match the patient.
When reconstructive surgery can't help, this small skilled team can. This is where life-changing prostheses are made, so lifelike that no one would notice.
The majority of people that we see have had cancer, but we also see people that have been through trauma or have a congenital birth difference where maybe their ear hasn't formed properly, that sort of thing as well.
So they've had some part of their head and neck, part of their face predominantly, they've lost that, and it's not always possible for the surgeon to reconstruct that with their own tissue. And so that's where we step in and we're able to provide them with a prosthesis instead that replaces what's been lost. With the materials that we now have available, we can really get that lifelike appearance.
And here we can do the shadow of the nostrils. So you can see there all the different colours that are going in.
They make around 60 prostheses a year and have 40 ongoing patients to care for.
These 3 magnets here will click onto implants that he has in his bone. It's a really good way of holding the prostheses into place. We have some patients that still play football.
If I was making fingers all the time, I think I'd get a bit bored of making fingers. But I quite like making eyes. I like the artistic skill and attention for detail. I'm painting an iris disc, so this is one of the components that's needed when making an indwelling eye as well as an orbital prosthesis. It's important to get the colour of that right and all the details.
An oven is used to bake the nose that Heidi is working on. As realistic as they are, the prosthesis can't restore any function.
You know, they don't move. You know, with an orbital prosthesis, the eyelashes, you know, the eye doesn't close. There is a certain extent, you know, that goes to really.
The work they do here is about improving quality of life and boosting confidence.
I think we play a big part in helping them sort of find their way back to normality and giving them confidence to face the world again, really.
Few workshops can boast they make the sort of personal transformations as this one.
We can sew nasal hairs in if they really want to, but often the patients don't request that we give them a hairy nose.
Some of our patients are surprised at the results that we get. I can really make a difference to their life, and that journey is just amazing to witness.
I just love my job. You know, hearing some of the things that some of the patients have said, it really means a lot when, you know, when you're giving them back that quality of life.
Wow, they're incredible, aren't they? In his final piece tomorrow, Alistair will show how the finished prosthetics are fitted and the difference that they're making to people's lives.
Now, for the last few days, we've been following the lives of 3 patients and the specialist team who care for them at Poole Hospital. Philip, Susan and John all lost parts of their faces to cancer. Well, that experience had a huge impact on them. But thanks to some extraordinary prosthetics, they've been given the confidence to go out and live their lives normally again. Our health correspondent Alistair Fee has this incredible and rather moving story.
It takes just a simple click. And what was once lost, a missing piece of anatomy, is back again.
I'm absolutely over the moon with what they can do. I've got several noses, but this is the winter one, yes.
Every 6 months, Philip attends this clinic to pick up a new nose. It's handmade and colour-coded to match his skin.
A little bit more around there, it's a little bit pale.
Facial prostheses made by a dedicated team in Poole Hospital are transforming lives damaged by cancer or physical trauma.
We get to see the patients, we get to take the impressions, spend a lot of time with them, getting to know what works for them. And then we come here in the laboratory and we can physically make them. So lots of different materials, lots of different techniques that we're using.
There you go, and that's a nice click.
Susan is a new patient. For the first time since her operation, she can wear her hair up with confidence again.
I spent all last summer wearing a scarf. I had the operation, and when I first looked in the mirror, it was amazing because I'd been all that time, without one, and then suddenly there was one.
Losing an eye to cancer left John severely disfigured. He's had a new eye hand-painted and surrounded by silicone to replace what his surgeon had to remove.
Oh, I'll be a lot more confident going out and about. I've been going out the house with a patch on every day. It's not so much for me, it's unsightly for other people, and it might, upset people. Hopefully I won't have to do that anymore.
OK, see you later. Bye-bye.
The maxillofacial team will go on to care for their patients for the rest of their lives. But it's a journey that begins with surgery.
As a surgeon, I remove a cancer, and then there are two main facets to the reconstruction. We like, where possible, to be able to restore and reconstruct patients with their own tissue. That's called autologous tissue. But sometimes the defect, the facial defect, is so complex that we can't do that. And that's where we rely on the expertise of the maxillofacial laboratory. The materials that they use are so lifelike. I'm in awe of some of the work that the maxillofacial laboratory do.
These lives, once damaged, have been put back together. Few meeting them would know the work they've had done.
I don't worry about going out anymore. I lead a normal life. Heidi is so fantastic with what she does, not just for me, but for many, many other people. And I can't talk highly enough of all of them, quite honestly. They've become friends over the years with me.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating look behind the scenes at that incredible work, hasn't it?